Welcome to the heritage of our fathers.
Welcome to the heritage of our fathers. Today's story is about Oba Orhogbua and the sea power of Benin. In the 16th century, the mighty kingdom of Benin rose to a new height under the rule of Oba Orhogbua, son of Oba Esiki. Unlike any Oba before him, Orhogbua looked beyond the thick forests and the high walls of Benin city. His eyes fixed on the vast Atlantic Ocean, the sea, once feared, became the new frontier of Benin's destiny. Oba Orhogbua inherited a kingdom already strong in politics, trade and warfare, but he saw power in something greater, the water. From his palace, with coral beads glowing on his chest and the ivory staff of authority in his hand, he declared Benin would not only
will rule
land,
not only
but
land,
also on sea.
but
It was
also
a vision
the
no
seas.
African king had dared before. The craftsmen of Benin, known for bronze and ivory, were ordered to build great war canoes. These were not ordinary vessels. They were floating fortresses carved from giant trees, wide enough to carry warriors armed with bows, spears, and the terrifying swords of Benin. When the canoes set out, rowers struck the waters in rhythm. Drums thundered across the waves, and the Oba's banner, rich in red and white, flew over the lagoons and rivers. Orhogbua himself often joined these expeditions. He was no distant ruler. He stood at the prow, his face stern, his body wrapped in royal cloth, coral beads glistening as the sun struck the water. His presence filled his men with courage, for they believed their Oba carried the spirit of Ogun, the god of war, onto the waves. Under his command, the Benin navy began to dominate the coast. Villages along the rivers submitted to his authority. The sea routes became the highways of Benin, carrying warriors, goods, and messengers from the kingdom's capital to the edges of the Atlantic. One of Oba Orhogbua's greatest feats was the establishment of colonies along the west African coast. In parts of what is today Lagos, he planted Benin's authority firmly. The island and its surrounding waters came under the red hand of Benin's banner. Local rulers recognized Benin's supremacy and paid tribute. From these coastal outposts, Benin controlled trade routes, collected wealth, and extended influence over inland peoples. This was more than war. It was strategy. The Portuguese, who had long traded with Benin, were astonished to see an African kingdom wield such naval strength. To them, Oba Orhogbua was not just a king, but a commander equal to European rulers who sent ships across oceans. Unlike many African states that only faced Europe from their shores, Benin under Orhogbua faced them on the water with dignity and might. Stories spread of fleets of canoes, hundreds strong, sweeping down rivers with such speed and power that no enemy could resist. The roar of Benin's war drums carried far, striking fear before the canoes even arrived. Those who submitted were absorbed into the kingdom's growing network. Those who resisted tasted the sharpness of Benin steel. By mastering the waterways, Oba Orhogbua reshaped the map of West Africa. The sea was no longer a boundary but a road, and Benin stood at its center. Lagos, once a fishing settlement, became a colony tied to Benin's empire. Tribute flowed back to Benin city. Salt, fish, and coastal goods enriched the kingdom alongside inland ivory, pepper, and cloth. But Oba Orhogbua's legacy was not only wealth and conquest. He proved that African power could match the seas, that the waves themselves could be ruled. His vision inspired generations after him, remembered in songs and stories as the Oba who turned Benin into a naval power. When he finally passed, the people mourned, for they knew they had lived in the age of a ruler who dared to go where none before had gone. Even centuries later, the lagoons of Lagos and the coastal waters whisper the memory of Benin's war canoes and the fearless Oba Orhogbua, the king who made the ocean his battlefield and the coast his inheritance. This brings us to the end of the story. Stay tuned for more. Please share, like, and comment. Thank you, and God bless.